What's going on, Raider Nation? I'm Joe Morley. Raider fans, the big question is after the game is everybody's asking, should the Raiders bench Geno Smith? They invested a third round pick in him, brought him over, and they gave him a new contract extension, which people are looking at that contract going, can the Raiders get out of it? Really? It's only a 1 year deal, and they can get out of it and only pay him $10 million. But the question is, should the Raiders bench Geno Smith? My answer to that is real simple. No, it's too early. Like, yes, Geno Smith has seven, not one, not two, not three, right? All that LeBron James stuff. 7 interceptions on the season. And that's ridiculous, especially through 4 games. 3 of them were versus the Chargers at home in the first home opener. And we were like, hey, maybe that Charger defense is something. But then he threw another 3 in the game against the Chicago Bears. And when you're throwing 3 interceptions versus the Chicago Bears, that's when people are questioning you, going, that defense ain't that good, Geno. That's one of the worst defenses in the league, and you allowed them to pick you off 3 times. And then he had another interception in week 1 versus the New England Patriots. So Geno has 7 on the season, which you're looking at, and you're wondering, like, damn, Geno, like, dude, what can we do to fix him? I'm saying we stick with Geno. I've said it that I think and you've seen it. The six out of the 7 interceptions have come at home in front of the home crowd, which is horrible, right? What's up, V? How you doing? Which is horrible for Geno Smith and horrible for the Raiders crowd because we get to see him home. But some of it, I think he's pushing it. I think he's trying to do too much at home for the home crowd. That's just my opinion. I'm not Geno Smith. But when you actually look at what he's doing, like, he has a 63% completion percentage, which, come on, Geno. We need that number bumped up just a little bit. But looking around the NFL, Geno has 7 interceptions. Next in line would be Joe Flacco of the Cleveland Browns, who have 6. Brownie, who just took over for Joe Burrow, has 5. Trevor Lawrence, the generational talent quarterback, has 4. Divisional opponent Bo Nix has 4. Brock Purdy, who hasn't played all year, has 4. Tua has 4. And then Justin Herbert has 3. So it seems like interceptions have been kind of up in the NFL. Seven's a ridiculous number, and there's nothing like I can really say to back it up. Like, there's nothing I can say to be like, oh, interception's okay. And in Geno's career, he's always been a guy that throws interceptions, right? When you look at Geno's stats in his career, he threw 15 interceptions last year. He threw 9 interceptions in 2023. He threw 11 in 2022. His first 2 years of the his first 2 years in the NFL, he threw 34 interceptions combined in those first 2 seasons with the Jets. So interceptions is not nothing new for Geno Smith, but I think it's the placement of the interceptions. Like, throwing an interception is never great. It's never good. But if you're throwing an interception while we're crossing the 50 and we're on the other 30-yard line, the defense can get it. But when you're throwing an interception where we're on and you're putting our defenses back against the wall, and you're throwing an interception on R20, and now the defense has turned around and they can go 3 and out and kick an easy 3 points, and they got 3 points out of it no matter what. There's a difference. Geno needs to know that it's okay for us to punt the ball. We have one of the best punters in the league. Let us punt the ball. Go 3 and out if you have to. Throw the ball away if you have to. Some of it feels like Geno, I think he thinks that, hey, maybe this offensive line ain't going to hold up. Maybe I need to do a little bit more. Maybe I need to force this because we need to score. Don't worry about that. As long as you're not putting the defense in bad situations like you have been with these 7 interceptions, that's where we'll start getting away from it. And people are telling me, like, Gardner Minshew, no. There's a big difference between Gardner Minshew and Geno Smith, right? Gardner Minshew put us in bad situations. He didn't see it, and it was just horrible every single play. At least with Geno Smith, you could see a little bit of faith, a little bit of hope in something that we're going to do. I mean, not not only does Geno Smith lead the league in interceptions, right? I mean, and that's like I said, there's not a lot I could say about the interceptions, but he's also 8th in the league, 8th highest in passing yards this year. So when he does have time, when he's not making the mistakes, he's finding the wide receivers open. But you got to remember that, I talked about this. A lot of this is Geno Smith's fault. A lot of it is, and him forcing it, and him, like, when it's horrible. Like, I think he should have a little bit more than 7 interceptions. He's got away with some more, and it's trying to find those holes. And he's trying, and like, it's like, Geno, like, just take. It's okay. Like, if somebody goes, well, we were mad at Derek Carr because he was a dink and doink guy. Sometimes you have to dink and doink until your team gets it. You saw what Ashton Jeanty is capable of doing. We saw what Ashton Jeanty is capable of doing when he has blocking. What's up, Just Raider baby? When he has the time, when he goes outside, we saw what Ashton Jeanty is capable of. Now, just continue to do that, Geno. If you can dink and doink, and then occasionally you dink and doink, and then they bring the defense up, and then you take the long ball. That's what. Don't go for the deep pass every time. I know the Al Davis would love it, right? Al Davis, the late great Al Davis would love for the Geno Smith quarterback to throw it all the time. American Samoa, what's up, man? How you doing? Appreciate it. But Geno, just take it. Let the offense get comfortable and let the defense move up. Right now, and I've talked about this in the offseason, another thing that is hurting Geno Smith, and you might agree with it, you might not, is the Raiders wide receiver room. I love Dante Thornton. I hope he becomes one, but maybe the Raiders need to look at maybe moving him around and getting him off the field a little bit more. The problem with Geno Smith also is Brock Bowers is our number one target. Brock Bowers is a tight end, and he's our number one. And people are like, what's wrong with that? I mean, how many times do you have a tight end? You have to have somebody that the defense, and I've said this since day one, the defense isn't afraid of our passing game. They're not afraid of our wide receivers. You don't have to go double Jacoby Myers. You don't have to take extra assets and put them on some of these guys, right? They could take their best cornerback and put them on Brock Bowers and then go after everybody else. And so right now, Geno is struggling with that, where Jacoby Myers, Dante Thornton himself, and these other guys aren't getting the separation. And so it's not helping the cause with Geno Smith and these interceptions. But at the end of the day, like he says right here, Geno has to play better. He has to play better. It's not about the short passes. Hell, it's not even about getting first downs at this point. It's about not turning the ball over. It's about not putting our defense in bad situations. And and I saw this in week 1 where the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears were playing, right? And what did they keep saying? I think it was the Vikings coach, O'Connell. He kept saying, I just want to see completions. So do we. Make completions. If we don't get the first down, we punt the ball, let A.J. Cole, one of the highest paid and best punters in the league, pin them back a little bit. Our defense comes on the field. But the problem is these interceptions are costing us points. When you're turning the ball over and all they have to do is kick a field goal, they're already up 3-0. They're already up 6-0. They're like, our defense is bending and not breaking. And yes, we're happy that our defense went out there and made the stop, but we still gave them 3 free points. And that's when our offense is not out there scoring, and it's tough for our offense to already put points on the board. 3 points is a lot to give up. A 3-point spread is a lot to give up already. But then when we asked the question, and when Raider fans, we're tired. We're tired of losing. We're tired of what feels like the same repetitions, right? We're tired of seeing the same thing over and over. And we preach that we have to be patient, but how patient can we be? It's been 20 plus years, right? and that's the thing. But if we continue to say every time something goes wrong, and we continue to say fire the coaches, fire or bench Geno Smith, like at what point do we realize that hasn't worked? That benching people and firing people every year hasn't worked out well for us, right? Like when you actually look down and you see it and you go, okay, maybe that patience thing that we've been talking about, maybe we do need to do that. Maybe we need to be a little more understanding of what goes into season. And here's the main problem with this. Here's the main problem. What's up, Raider Rock in the house, guys? Here's the main problem, I think, is when it's the off season, we get blinded. When it's the off season, I call the off season from the draft to the beginning of the first game. I call that hype season. That is hype season. Everybody gets hyped up, and everybody gets blinded by their team. And you don't, at that point, you don't want to hear the negativity about your team. You don't want to hear anything negative about your team. And that's where I take a lot of heat in the offseason. That's where I get a lot of the stuff. And I'm good with it, and I'm cool with it. I'm not, like, people always know that I'm not here to make you smile, to bring joy to your face. I want to hype it up. I want to see the Raiders win. But I also got to be a little bit realistic. So in the offseason, I questioned it. I said, hey, what about the blocking for Ashton Jeanty? We got Ashton Jeanty. What about blocking? We need offensive linemen. I was told we'll be okay. I questioned the wide receiver room, right? I said, looking at the training camp, seeing it, we need a number one wide receiver. And now we're 4 games in the season, and we need a wide receiver. We need somebody to help Jacoby Myers out. I mean, you wonder why there's 2 to 3 people on Jacoby Myers, because they don't care about anybody else. They don't care about anybody else. Now, is part of this on Chip Kelly? Probably, right? Because Chip Kelly is supposed to be the genius offensive coordinator. This guy is getting paid $6 million a year to be the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league. And you should be this last game against the Bears was probably the best game that Chip Kelly has called all season. And we unfortunately we lost, but he got Ashton Jeanty involved in the passing game. He went outside. He utilized the offensive line. He knew that they were struggling, and he found plays to quickly get the ball out. And that helped out a ton. And he needs to continue to build on that. Getting Michael Mayer out and getting, Michael Mayer being out, that kind of sucks. But I would like to see more drag routes, maybe with some of these fast guys, or even with Brock Bowers himself. Just a little drag route. I mean, I always wonder why NFL teams don't run drag routes more, bringing, that's from starting the wide receiver on one side and then taking them across, maybe like a little 3 or 4 yards, and then just going across the whole defense. Because sometimes you get lucky and you get a linebacker on you, and say like Trey Tucker has a line. Say somehow it happens and Trey Tucker has a linebacker on it. He's winning that 10 out of 10 times. 10 out of 10 times. Just me personally. But for us to get upset with Geno Smith, and Geno, look, here's the difference. I talked about it earlier on another show. Here's the difference between this year's Raiders and say even last year's Raiders. Did you see Geno Smith's press conference after the game? Geno Smith said, hey, I'm not the Geno Smith that they traded for. I need to become that guy. I lost this game. I put my team in a bad situation. I know how much my teammates work. Geno Smith said all this. He goes, I see how much they go out there and work. Basically, it reminded me of the Derek Carr press conferences after the game, just without Derek Carr's cry, without the tears, right? But Geno Smith, like, that was a great press conference. Like, to take responsibility for himself and say, you know what, I lost this game, and I don't like how my teammates are doing this in the locker room. Then you watch Max Crosby. I saw a thing on Max Crosby. And Max Crosby, Brian Baldinger broke down Max Crosby's film. And Max Crosby, I've told you, looked like an animal. He looked like the best NFL player this weekend. And Baldinger said, Max Crosby put in all this work and did all this and looked amazing. And you know what Max responded to that? Still a lot more work to do. How much more can we ask for Max Crosby? Then you watch the Ashton Jeanty press conference after the game. Well, not the press conference, but after the game when he's talking to the media. What did Ashton Jeanty say? He said, "Oh, the stats are great. I loved having the game, but I'll rather have the win." This is what those are team guys. Those are team interviews. Remember last year at this time, we were listening to Devontae Adams saying, "Oh, we're lost, but I want the ball." That's selfish. When you're talking about like Ashton Jeanty could have came out and just said, "Hey, I ran for 140 yards. What more do you want from me?" No, he went out there and said, "I'm not happy. Yeah, I had a hell of a game, probably the best game of my career, 3 touchdowns, 140 yards, but we didn't get that win. We didn't get that win, and that's the main goal. That's the main goal." Ernesto is saying, "I was a little disappointed when we got Geno. He's a journeyman for a reason. New Year, same Raiders. We need to address the quarter." Okay, yes, Ernesto, you are correct. I don't think the Raiders wanted you to be excited when they brought in Geno Smith. The Raiders brought in Geno Smith as the bridge quarterback to find a franchise quarterback. He was never supposed to. Geno Smith is and has always never supposed to be the answer. He's not the answer to our quarterback situation. He's a bridge quarterback until they find one. Now, why the Raiders didn't draft a quarterback to back up Geno Smith is head scratching. I don't know why they didn't do that. Maybe the Cam Miller hype from Tom Brady, because Tom Brady was hyping Cam Miller up to the front office. Maybe that got to him. Maybe they thought, hey, maybe Cam Miller could be the guy. But Geno Smith was never supposed to be the franchise quarterback. So people that had high hopes for Geno Smith to come in here and lead this franchise, no. But Geno Smith was supposed to come in here, be the guy who is the game manager, who doesn't hurt the team, and just be a good average quarterback. And that's something that we were looking for, the step in the right direction, right? What's up, Victor? How you doing? Simone Raider. Simone Raider always on some bullshit right here. Trade for Russell Wilson. No. Nope. I didn't want Russell Wilson in the offseason. I don't want Russell Wilson now. But that's the situation that the Raiders should have been in with Geno Smith. They should have had somebody backing up that could have came in at that time. V said Facebook Live at 4 p.m. So in just a little bit, she'll be alive. Geno right now is the best option. Kenny Pickett is not one. Kenny is there if Geno goes down or if he becomes dog shit and Geno has to turn around before the bye. Yes, exactly. And is Kenny Pickett 100%? Remember, Kenny Pickett hurt his shoulder, or no, his hamstring, right? In the preseason before he got traded over from the Browns. Kenny Pickett, when I look at Kenny Pickett, he is 15-10 as an NFL starter. A lot of that benefited from the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Kenny Pickett did make some bad decisions when he was with the Steelers. He did have a year to learn in Philadelphia behind Jalen Hurts. He saw the team go all the way to the Super Bowl, so he kind of knows what hard work goes into a championship team. I feel with you right there that yes, that Kenny Pickett would be good at a limited role, and I don't know of a long-term role for us. But I mean, he's only 4 years into his NFL career, and he has the potential. But I mean, I don't want to go that route right now. Not with. We know that Geno Smith can correct it, and we're hoping he can correct it, and we don't. Why mess with the chemistry so early right now? Yes, and it's still learning the playbook and has time. Yeah, and that's another thing. He came in so late. He's only 4 weeks into the season that he's actually been with the Raiders. And let's not act like Kenny Pickett don't throw interceptions, right? I don't have his stats in front of me, but in his career he has 15 touchdowns and 14 interceptions in Kenny Pickett's career. And so I don't know. Kenny Pickett might be a little bit mobile, and that's what I was happy to see from Geno Smith in the Bears game. Is he was a little bit more mobile, more able to run. And the first 3 games, it was like, why aren't you running, Geno? So I think Kenny Pickett would might add that. Now, for the people that are, I don't even know if I want to bring it up, but the people that love Aiden O'Connell, you really think that Aiden O'Connell would be great behind this offensive line? He would basically be what Joe Flacco is right now for the Cleveland Browns, a statue, just getting hit all the time. Yes, he might complete a pass or here or there, and maybe he might not turn the ball over all the time, but how many more sacks is he going to take? That's the question too. Yeah, he said Aiden O'Connell is cement feet. And I know that Aiden O'Connell has made strides and he's trying to get better, but to me, it's not there. To me, it's not there. Aiden O'Connell. Now, Geno Smith has also been sacked. So not only along with the 7 interceptions that he's thrown, he's also been sacked 12 times on the season. Now, part of me is you think 5 sacks is bad? Well, double digits. Yeah, I think so too. I'm right there with you. If you guys aren't watching them live on YouTube, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. That'd help me out. Appreciate it. That's all I ask for. Hell, give Kenny Pickett a try. At this point, it can't be any worse. But he's only been an interception machine in 3 games, and like I said, like I don't know how to say it. Like there's no defending interceptions. There's no defending it. But even with the 3 interceptions that he threw this week, with 3 minutes left to go in the game, the Raiders still had a chance to win. Even when you make the mistakes, it's a 60-minute game. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you threw 4 or 5 interceptions or 0 interceptions. If you have a chance to win the game with 2 minutes left, it's the whole team effort, right? Yes, Geno threw 3 interceptions, and yes, he gave up multiple points. And the Browns wouldn't have been the Bears wouldn't have been in that situation to have the lead if he didn't have it, right? And I agree. I'm not defending it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but at the end of the game, it was 25-24, right? What, 30 seconds left? 3rd down and 4, or 3rd down and 2. And it was a horrible play call by Chip Kelly to hand the ball off with 6 men blocking, 8 guys rushing. They stacked the box. It was 4th down to win the game. Field goal out there. And they blocked it. Is that on Geno? No. Did the 3 interceptions not help us and give the Bears points? Yes. So you have arguments both ways. But throughout Ashton Jeanty had 160 yards or whatever it was, 3 touchdowns. He also had a horrible fumble that gave the Bears points. We kind of overlooked that, right? Because of what Ashton Jeanty did. Because of how much he picked the team up and he did it. So there's a lot of different things that go into the game. That's not just 1 or 2 things that happen. It's a 60-minute game. And yes, the defense does get tired. The defense does get their backs to the wall. But when we needed a big defensive stop, it never happened. It never happened. So these are just bad, just total bad situations altogether. And it is still learning. It is still the team trying to gel. And this is why I kind of miss the old school preseasons. Like if you're an older NFL fan, you remember the preseasons where starters played the first game they probably played like a drive or 2. The second game, they went out there and they played a quarter, 2 quarters, even into halftime. It came in after halftime. Remember that? Like they gelled together. Now in the newer NFL, this new NFL, it's like we're watching preseason games week 1, week 2. We're watching. That's why week 1 is like always overreaction. They always see something happen in week 1 and go, "What the hell was that?" And then it just calms down after that. Like I miss the old preseason games, the way they treated preseason with the players, getting that groove and actually using it to get your team to gel together. Now, if you think the offensive line has been bad, Colton Miller's out for 8 weeks now, right? Because they found fractures in his foot or in his leg. And I when I first saw that it was a high ankle sprain, I was like, no, it can't be because they brought the card out. High ankle sprains are bad, but we normally see people walk off or get helped off the field. They brought the card out for Colton Miller, and I was like, there has to be more. And then it finally came out that it's worse. So just Raiders baby saying I didn't like preseason games, but I understand it. Yeah, yeah. The preseason games aren't to evaluate talent. Like, hopefully you find people in there, but you should already know who is your best players, who's not. Like you have enough training camps, you see it. But you should. The preseason game is to gel and get the timing and the rhythms going, and to get feeling right. That's what you're looking for. Maybe you would have saw that JPJ was the best guy to go with, anyways, if you would have had a clear competition. But that's just me talking. But I know Raider fans, we're upset. We're 1-3. We got the Indianapolis Colts this weekend, which is not going to be an easy thing. The Indianapolis Colts basically lost that game themselves to the Rams last week. They should be undefeated. This is a high-powered offense coming in, and say what you want about Danny Dimes. This is a very good running back, probably one of the best running backs in the league that the Raiders are going to see this week. So Geno and this defense and the Indianapolis Colts defense is tough. Now remember, there's all these stats about indoor Geno and outdoor Geno. That Geno Smith was supposed to be a very good quarterback indoors, especially when he was with Seattle. He was like his stats didn't lie, but it was a small sample size. It seems like indoor Geno has been worse this year, right? It seems like indoor Geno has not been helping us out. But this is in a dome in Indianapolis. It's a road game. Start at 10 a.m. on the West Coast, and we've seen how teams do that. How they travel and sometimes don't show up for those games. So that's going to be a tough one. But to get back to where I was starting, and this whole show basically was about, I think we need to be a little bit more patient. It's not time to bench Geno. It's time to hold on, continue to hopefully, and just see if he can improve and see if he's really about what he was saying in his media conference, that hey, I need to be better. So I'm trusting Geno Smith a little bit. I'm trusting Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, I said it yesterday. I wonder if Pete Carroll just sits in his office and goes, now this is what coaching the Raiders is like, right? This is what coaching the Raiders is like. If you think you have something going, you don't. Like, we find ways to lose games or for something to happen. It's different. It's crazy. But this is the Raider Nation. And I wonder if Pete Carroll, like, I don't know. I would think that USC had a fan base like us. But this Raider Nation, like, we are very passionate. We ride the roller coaster. We go up and down. And that's what I do too. I expect it. I'm a fan. Like, we are one hardcore fan base, right? Why not ride the roller coaster? I do it during the game. Like, hey, you ride it up, and you score a touchdown, you're happy. When they give up a touchdown, you're sad. When they win, like if the Raiders win this week and they beat Indianapolis, you don't think we're all going to be hyped back up again? You don't think we're all going to be crazy again? Yeah, like that's the roller coaster ride that you take with the Raider Nation, and that's being a fan. That's the beauty of the NFL. I want to say, right, is that roller coaster ride. Like, I don't get the people that just sit there and they watch a game and they're just like, oh, touchdown, cool. Well, we're gonna lose still. No. Get to the tailgate, get excited, go in there, watch a touchdown, and see what happens. But ride that roller coaster of emotion, like somebody texted me right before the kickoff in there, or right before, I think either right before the Bears scored their last touchdown to take the lead. They're like, how's your heart feeling? I go, I'm trying to find the AED in the stadium so I can sit right next to it. Because, just being a Raider fan, that's how it is. Every Sunday, they get to you, right? They get to your emotions. I love it. That's what I love about being a fan. That's what I love about going to the games and seeing other fans with me. We do deserve better. We do deserve a lot more, but there's 32 or 31 other teams that say the same thing, right? That they deserve better, they want more. And how many, like the Baltimore Ravens, right? How many times they say they deserve better, and they're a Super Bowl contender every year, but every year they fail, and they'll be like, "We want more, we want more." So you're never going to be happy unless you're actually winning Super Bowls every year. It's just I firing, benching, and changing things out every week after week or year after year. It's not working out for us. And I think what happened is, I think what's getting more people pissed off and getting into us. And like I said, because we're an emotional fan base, and we should be, and then that's how everybody is. But in the offseason, people have their opinions on the team, and everybody expects their team to win 13, 14, 17 and 0, whatever. They want you to win a lot of games. But that was hype season. And when you actually look at this team and you go, this Raider team has been gutted and rearranged and try to bring in new philosophies of how new coaches multiple times over the last 4 years. John Gruden tried to build his team, right? Then Josh McDaniels came in, and him and Dave Ziegler cut guys, traded guys, and tried to build up their philosophy. That didn't work out, so then we go, screw it. Let's do it with Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco. So they came in and they cut guys and they did it, and they moved their roster around, and then they were gone. And now Pete Carroll and Josh Spytek are here, and they're going, well, we have 3 regimes that try to do this, and now we are expected to do it in 1 year. I mean, realistically, can they do it? Some teams have, some teams haven't. But if you're looking to build long term, we have to continue with the Pete Carroll. We have to continue with Geno Smith, and we have to continue with the route that they're going. And that's losing sucks. Losing sucks. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't get pissed off. When I drove, it takes me 4 hours to drive home. I drive to the game, 4 hours there, 4 hours home. You don't think the whole way home I'm going, this fucking sucked? You don't think the whole way home I'm going, why did I spend that much money to go to the Raider game? Like, I just spent so much on tickets. I invested so much into this day, and just to watch them lose. Like, you don't think that bothers? It does. It has. And like I said in the video afterwards, I was defeated. Like, I thought the Raiders were going to beat the Bears. And the Raiders should have beat the Bears. And it just, it wears and tears on you. But are you going to quit on them? No. Like, I get that on in my comments, like, you should just switch teams. Why? Do I look like a bitch to you? No, I ain't that. I ain't doing that. When going gets tough, is that what you were raised to do? When the going gets tough, you go and find another team? No, because I know deep down inside, when the Raiders are great again, and the Raiders hold that Lombardi trophy one day when I'm watching, that it's all going to be worth it. All these years of pain, all these interceptions that we're watching Geno throw, it's going to be worth it. And that right there is where it's worth it. V is saying, we are the crazy fans people warned you about. Yeah. Now, I don't know. Trying to go off topic. I was trying to just stay on Geno today, but I don't know if the Vegas crowd is as crazy as it was in Oakland. One, because most people are all spread out now in the stadium. We're not, you don't have the die black hole of just loud of everybody together, and then we have a bunch of like people, tourists and stuff that go to the game. So yes, but the Raider Nation, the hardcore Raider fans that are there, that are going nuts and there every Sunday, like, you see them. I walk through the tailgate. No matter where you walk in, you'll find somebody. You'll see the same people there. It's awesome to see it. Commitment to excellence. We need to bring it back. We need to bring that back. There you go. Jim saying Raider Nation for life. And this is what we're talking about. This is the main thing we're talking about: stability. Ride with the regime till it's and that's where people get upset with me because I ride with our team until they're not. I ride with Pete Carroll. I wanted Pete Carroll as the head coach. I wanted Pete Carroll because he's done it before, and we have to trust him and we have to go along with him. And I ride with our players and I ride with our coaches until they're not part of the Raider organization, and then I'll be like, oh, you know what? Here's what I saw, but I don't feel like bashing them. I try. I always want to be positive about our team, and I think it's hard. It's very hard. You know how hard it is to talk about a Raiders team every day, do videos about it when we're losing. Like I wish it was easy to come on and be like, "Hey, rah rah, we won again. Let's keep on trucking." But and it does it get depressing? Yes. But do I see the finish line? Do I see us changing? I think so. I like what John Spytek has been able to do. I like some of the moves that they've done. They've been working out. Hey, they took risks on Devin White. They've taken risks on Jamal Adams, and those have looked okay, right? Um, I didn't like the Amari Cooper thing, but that didn't work out. But at least it was like, hey, we need somebody to come into our wide receiver room, and they tried. So I think as long as we give this team time and we get it and everybody is continuing to work hard, and that's what Pete Carroll is. He has to try to keep that locker room going and just building each and every week. That's what it is. But anyways, Raider Nation, like I said, just came on here to say, let's keep a little bit of faith in Geno. Let's see if he could turn it. It's still early in the season. We're only 4 games in. Still have 28% chance of making the playoffs if we can go to correctly. We've seen teams make runs when they get hot. It's not the end of the world yet. So, Raider Nation, let's have a great video. Let's have a great season.